What's up? How you doing? Here we are. Beautiful evening. Beautiful evening. Perfect. So today, John Amos died, and I was a big fan of his all the way back to Good Times, but all the other stuff he did too. He did Roots, Coming to America. Great actor. Kind of like one of those actors in a role that made you feel secure, like when he played the father. Good Times. Solid father. I remember that show. I used to watch it coming home from school when it was on reruns. I had a friend of mine who was a big fan. I was a big fan of that show, and on the way home, after exploring the neighborhood, we would stop over at his house, and no parents were ever home at his house because his father worked and his mother was she was in Lebanon at the time, and parents were married, but she was there doing some work, and so we always had the place to watch TV by ourselves. He had a brother and a sister. They would watch. Sister not so much, but the brother hung around with us. And Good Times, we used to watch that all the time, a couple episodes every day. So I was a huge fan of that. Big fan of Bernadette Stannis. Very attractive lady. Still looks good. I don't know if she's like 70 now, maybe younger than 70, but she still looks good. But back then, very hot. I remember there was a story that Jimmy Walker, he wanted her, well, he had an idea that she should pose in like a calendar like Farrah Fawcett did, and everybody thought that that was a goofy idea. They never did it, but I think that that would have sold millions of copies. Very attractive, Bernadette. But today we lost John Amos, and 84 years old, lived a full life. But he was one of those actors that when I was a kid, he was part of my childhood. So yeah, that's the way it goes. Kunta Kinte. Remember they cut his foot? But then, on Good Times he left the show. I think he left because he thought the writing was stereotypical. It was depicting a black family in a way that he didn't want, and plus the goofiness of JJ was too much for him, I guess. But despite all that, I was a fan of the show. Got a chisel here, brand new. Look at that. Very sharp. 2 inches. Chisels are useful. So I will tell you something that I've mentioned before, but there was an actor on that show who played Sugar Daddy there, and Theodore Wilson. So a lot of people don't know that. I was a huge fan of Theodore Wilson's. I don't know, for some reason I liked his style. I liked the sound of him, the voice. And when I was little, I would watch That's My Mama, is that the name of the show there? He was a mailman, and there was a barbershop there. And Ted Lang was on that show. Matter of fact, I met Ted Lang in real life many years ago, about 8 years back. So I was in a coffee house, and I was there with my daughters. My wife was there, and so I was sitting at the table, and I look over, and Ted Lang came in. Isaac from The Love Boat. And so I went up and I talked to him. Very nice guy. Very, very nice guy. Good conversation. Spoke to my kids. Took the time. He didn't rush you. He didn't look over you to give the impression that he wasn't interested in talking to you. He was direct eye contact, and we had a good conversation. And then I mentioned to him, That's My Mama. And he goes, "You remember that?" I go, "Yes, of course I remember that." I go, "That was one of my favorite shows back then." And so it didn't last long, but it was a good show. Anything with a barbershop in it, I have to watch it. Yeah, I love television shows that include a barbershop, especially a barbershop from the old days. So that's the way it goes. That's the way of the world. We lost John Amos today. So I have these little charcoal things, and I'm going to light it up in here. Got a lighter here. Get that, huh? Somewhere in my motor car right here, I have, remember those caps? Anybody my age and older would know. They used to sell these caps, you know, for fake guns. You put the caps in there. It was a roll, red, with little dots. Each dot was a a miniature explosion. And you'd put them in the gun and pull the trigger, and it would hit the cap, and it would make like a little gunshot sound. What happened here? Oh, it's still on. Wow, that's very warm. So we didn't use the gun thing. What we used to do is we used to put them down on the sidewalk and find a rock with an edge to it, and we'd hit them, and they'd make a little pop sound. And sometimes if we wanted to do something more impressive, we would take the whole roll and smash it with a heavy rock, and multiple pops at once would come. So I ended up buying some the other day, and there's somewhere in the car. I tossed them. Anyway, right now we have the charcoal, but we have frankincense. So we're going to put some on here and chase the bugs away. Nice aroma. See that? I feel like I'm chasing the vampires away. So yeah, that's what I was reading today. Somebody else died too. I see this and it reminds me of Master Khan at the Shaolin Temple, when they would light that pit with the coal inside, and David Carradine, Kung Fu there, Kwai Chang Caine had to pick up the thing with his forearms, and then he had the dragons here burn in. I don't know if those things would have burned in looking that good. Getting very rich. But that's how that thing was smoking, like that. Gotta blow it that way. I don't know, when there's a human being, smoke chases them down. It's funny, there's a cat, one of those cats that hangs around with me, and he's very impressed with the smoke. Wow. It's a lot. So yeah, those shows were very, very interesting to us back then. Another show that was kind of in that style that I used to watch, Welcome Back, Kotter. Another show. Vinnie Barbarino, Gabe Carter, Juan Epstein, Freddie Boom Boom Washington, Arnold Horshack. Could smell that from miles away. But that was another cool show. They went to Buchanan High. They were the Sweat Hogs. And I went to a school like that, similar, when I was younger. It had a same look, same atmosphere. We didn't have a teacher like that. We didn't have Mr. Carter. And that was a great theme song. Welcome Back, Kotter. That guy's name Sebastian Barkley. A lot of good shows back then, but yeah, good times. I love that theme song. What was that? Malona lived upstairs with Janet Jackson. She sang that the Jeffersons theme song. That was another good show. The Jeffersons. And I'll tell you what, another show I enjoyed was Alice. I love watching Alice. One particular summer, I think it was the summer of '81. Pretty sure it was summer of '81. In my area, they would play 2 episodes of Alice and 2 episodes of the Jeffersons. So in the summer, this was in the summer, I would get up in the morning and I would put the television on, and 2 episodes of the Jeffersons would come on. So I'd watch those 2, and then I'd watch 2 episodes of Alice, Mel's Diner, and then I'd watch all the 2 hours there, half hour apiece, and then I'd go out and play on my bike. I'd bump into a bunch of friends, but I like that show, Alice. And on the Jeffersons, keeps following me. It's getting on my nerves. See if I go here. It's like I have a gravitational pull. Go back and forth. So anyway, Mr. Bentley was on that show, Jeffersons, and he was the guy on, was it Sesame Street? The painter, mysterious painter or whatever. He never spoke, but you could hear his thoughts. I'm going to paint a 9, and then he had a bucket. He had a painter's coat on, and he would paint a 9 where it was inappropriate. Actually, there was a guy in a pool one time. He drew a number on their bald spot in the top here, and then I remember a street cleaner, and it was always the same guy that he was messing with. But the street cleaner came by and washed the street, and then here comes this guy, the painter guy, and he with paint does like a number 8 or something on the street, and so the other guy had to come back with a big street cleaner and chase him off. Mr. Bentley. I think everybody died on that show. I don't know what happened to Jenny. Another good-looking lady there, Jenny from upstairs. She was the daughter of the Wilsons, right? Roxanne, what is her name? Ellen, and Tom Wilson. And Mr. Jefferson had 7 cleaners. 7 cleaners. That was a good show. Sherman Helmsley. And then Alice, I like that show. I don't know. Wasn't really in Arizona, but it was supposed to be in Arizona. Mel's Diner. He had Mel Sharpton, whatever. Sharpton's the other guy. And he owned Mel's Diner. And then you had the other guy there, the telephone guy, Henry. Yeah. I like that show. I don't know. That was a cool show, Alice. And then Linda Levin, was that her name? She really wanted to be a singer. She sang the theme song to that show. Not a bad theme song. I liked it. Ah, that's cool. Yeah, I like it going that way. That way. They even give you a little, you can adjust things here. Frankincense. This is 100% natural. It comes from a tree. It's a sap, a gum. The origin, Ethiopia. This came all the way from Ethiopia. I love that country. Very beautiful. Good coffee. Has a very peculiar smell. You have to smell it to know what I'm talking about. It's like I'm doing witchcraft. Look at that. Yeah, it's tough to... Alright, got them on there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Years ago, I would be downtown and the Hare Krishnas would be there. And I used to sit there and listen to them chant, relaxing. I'd sit on there was like a wall that you could sit on top of. And the Hare Krishnas would come out with the sheets, and they had like a couple of lines here, I don't know. And they would do their little chanting there for about a half hour, and then you'd get a meal out of it, right? They had these little cups. They'd fill them up with raisins and different rice and I don't know, some other fentanyl, I don't know what was in there. And then they'd pass them out and you'd eat them. They'd give me some, I'd eat it. And then they start chanting again, and the words were all the same, but the music, the way they sang it would change slightly. Sometimes it would be fast, sometimes slow. Sometimes, if you were lucky, they would do a dance for you. They had this very interesting looking display. It was about the size of the table, and it had the cycle of life. So it had the baby. They had a kid about 5, a kid about 13, a kid about 18, a kid about 21, 25. Then, you know, like in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and then at the end it was this old guy with a cane like this, and they had the baby full circle all the way until it was an old man and just about ready to die. So I would go there, listen to them a little bit. And then I couldn't get the tune out of my head. Couldn't get it out of my head. I'd get on the train and I'd be hearing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. I couldn't get it out of my head. Sitting in my bed at night, nice and quiet, and I would hear the Hare Krishna singing in my head. Sometimes I go to the Buddhist temple out in the desert. Very peaceful there. They have big statues made from granite. Very, very, I don't know, some of these have creepy faces, very weird smiles, and they have incense things. You know, the punk stick with the, and they have thousands of them. You light one up, put it in the sand, makes great smoke. I go there once in a while. One time I was in there, and they sell those the outfits, you know, the monk clothes. I think I'm gonna get something here. I go over there. First of all the sizes are for people that are like 120 pounds. I am not 120 pounds. But I asked the lady, there was a lady there, I don't know what she was doing there, and she barely spoke any English. So I was trying to talk to her using my hands. And I said to her, that robe there, that monk's robe, I go, do you have bigger sizes? And she goes, bigger sizes? I go, yeah, bigger. And she goes, oh, she started laughing. She said, no. And then I said, do you take credit cards? She goes, no, cash only. So I said, all right, well, I don't have the cash. Not like I carry hundreds of dollars on me. But sometimes when I go up there, there are monks that they'll walk by you and they ghost you. They don't acknowledge you. They don't say anything. They just walk by you. One time I was there, and I don't know, maybe I looked suspicious to them, but it was quiet at first, and then they sent a couple of monks out to keep an eye on me. They were looking at me from the corner. I could see them in the corner. They were keeping an eye on me. and then when they realized everything was okay with me, they left me alone. But at first, they came out to see what's going on with this guy. And I should have said I come in peace. You know what that is? All right, Mama's boy. Heading home. Yeah, not bad. I feel like I'm sending smoke signals. I gotta time it when the wind is blowing that way. Magic. Shaolin Temple. Yeah, I loved the Shaolin Temple. I was fascinated by that show. Kung Fu. It's like when you can take the pebble, when you can snatch the pebble from my hand, then it is time for you to leave. Yeah. Well, when Kwai Chang Caine came to the temple, looked like he was like 6 years old, 7. And then when he's ready to leave, it looks like he's like 30. So he's in his prime. You're 80 years old. You don't think he's going to snatch it from your hand? You know, I mean, maybe if they were the same age and they were both like 30 and one was a really good Kung Fu expert, and he did that, then maybe you could say, okay, it's equal. But you got a guy who's like 30 in his prime, and you got a guy who looks like he's about 80. His reflexes are all slow, and of course he's going to snatch it. He hits down, he picks it up, opens his hand, and the pebble is in there. Is that really fair that you took it from an 80-year-old man's hand? I don't think so. So he took it, and then what else did he do? He had to do something else. Oh, the rice paper. Had to walk on rice paper without tearing it. Once he did that, see, I would have waited for warmer months, because if anybody knows anything about that show, once Caine took the pebble and walked on the rice paper and did all that, then it was time for him to leave. But he picked the wrong month. He opens up the doors after he moves that heavy pot. It's got the coal inside and it's got the dragons. Picks it up, puts it down on the other side, and the door opens up. And all of a sudden, he's up on, like, I don't know, it looks like he's up on Mount Everest. And there's like 10 feet of snow. And he's barefoot. So, where's he gonna go in that kind of weather with bare feet like that and just a sheet wrapped around him? So I would have waited till springtime or summer. I would have failed the pebble. I would have been, I can't get it now. Too slow. And then I would have waited till like July 15th. And then I would have said, let's do the pebble thing. I would have been, oh, I got it. I got the pebble. And I just walked on the rice paper. So yeah, he gets out there. You're gonna die in that kind of weather. I don't care how much you're trained in the martial arts. I don't know how much he knew, but you know, motor car. No matter how much training you have, the cold is gonna get you. You're gonna die of hypothermia. You know, it's not like if you know Kung Fu, you can control your body heat to the point where, hey, you know, it's 20 below here, but I feel like it's 75. So I don't know how he got down from that mountain. Impossible, you know. But I would have waited. You know, I would have said, you know what? I don't know. I'm not quick right now. We'll try again in 6 months. But maybe it's cold year-round up there. I don't know. Maybe they're high to the point where the mountain is always cold. But at least give them a pair of boots, right? Or a nice moccasins. They just sent them off. They're like, get him out of here. Too much food this guy is eating. I never understood that. You know, they didn't even care about him a little bit. And then what happens? He goes to the Festival of the Lights. He went to some festival that Master Po wanted to go. And Master Po was all ashamed. He's like, oh, that's ambition. That's wrong. That's a weakness. And he ends up going there, and Master Po's blind. So Caine shows up, and Master Po can sense him. He's like, grasshopper. He's like, did you think you could fool me, my favorite pupil? Unless he smelled like, I don't know, like horse crap. I don't know how he realized that was grasshopper. He must have smelled something unique on him. I was like thinking, this guy smells like a cilantro. I know that's the grasshopper. So while he's there talking to Master Po, the Emperor shows up, and I guess Master Po, I don't know, he was in the way or something, and they kind of grabbed him. They gave him a slap or something. I don't know if it was this way or this way, and they did it twice. And Master Po, when they went to do it a second time, he grabbed him by the thumb or something, twisted him down, and he goes, you know, you shouldn't punish. He said, even, what did he say? Even something like, you shouldn't punish somebody twice for the same offense. But he said it in a different way, more poetic. And as a result of that, they wanted to hurt Master Po, and then Cain took a spear, threw it where the emperor would be sitting normally. He wasn't there, but he was behind, and the spear penetrated and killed him. And then Master Po, just before he died, he said to Cain, you have to leave. There's going to be a bounty on your head. Now, I don't understand that scene. First of all, there's all these guards guarding the emperor, who's a baby, he's a little kid. How does he get a chance to run? How does he escape to America? Didn't they say, oh, grab this guy, there's 10 of us? Was he that fast from the training? You know? Because at that moment, when you look around, there's all these guards. He just killed the emperor, and he's able to get away and come to America. He's able to get on a boat or a ship or whatever. They don't realize, hey, check the ships, make sure he doesn't escape. And then he escapes to America in the Wild West. I guess he's out here in California, and there's wanted posters everywhere here in America from China, which back in those days it would take like what, like a couple of months to get here on a boat, if you ever made it. So they're looking for him with all these posters of him doing his karate moves. Yeah, I used to love that show. I still love watching it, but it's not quite as good from this point of view as it was back then when I would watch it as a kid. Yeah, back then it was very good. I love the intro. And a lot of candles in there, like a big fire hazard. I don't know, I mean, I would have been like, just light one, and let one represent thousands. There were like, I don't know, 1,500 candles throughout the whole place. I'm surprised they didn't die of carbon monoxide. Just, they were making candles. And where'd they find the material up on this mountain to make candles all the time? So yeah, a lot of candles. And what did they do? I don't understand what they did on their free time. They just meditated all day. I bought one time, I still have it, the Monk's Cookbook. And it's a cookbook on what monks eat. Interesting, you know, I don't know if you'd ever feel full on that for long. Be like, yeah, I just ate that big bowl of whatever, but I'm hungry again. Or you gotta be a stick. Gotta be a stick. But yeah, I like that show. And Master Khan, brilliant. Master Khan, he was Korean. Oxygen. Yeah, it's a unique smell, tough to describe. Not bad, just you can't really describe what it smells like. Then in the 90s, they came up with Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. I thought it was horrible. I could barely watch an episode. Horrible. When they announced it, I was all excited. David Carradine's coming back. He's going to play the role of Kung Fu, but in modern times. And I thought it was going to be really good. And then I sat down. I gave it a chance. I watched 3 or 4 episodes, and then I said, thumbs down. Awful. So yeah, they couldn't duplicate the success of the original. Plus you see it now and you go, that's not real fighting. If he did that kind of fighting, he would get his ass kicked. That's slow motion. That's not just a slow motion. It's that there was no real moves. He would do these weird kicks, barely hit the guy, and the guy would go flying. Then he would do some kind of thing, the guy would go back. You know, not real fighting. You want to see real fighting? UFC. UFC. Mixed martial arts. That's real. That's real. It works. You want to see fake fighting? Karate form fighting. You know, I mean, it looks good. Believe me, when you see these guys in real life going after each other, looks good. But in real life, if you had to fight someone using that, no. Immediately you would abandon that and you'd try and just fight with your, wrestling or some kind of punching, but you wouldn't be doing the nonsense that they teach you in a dojo. You don't have time to do all that. Blocking and, believe me, if the blocks in karate worked, every boxer would not be blocking with his hands up here trying to deflect. They would be doing the combination blocks, all this nonsense. But you don't have any time to do that. By the time you do this, he's already hit you 3 times in the side of your head. Angry drivers. Anyway, that's it. That's it. Salute to John Amos. I was a fan, and I still am. I liked him as a person from the interviews. I didn't know him personally. But just from the interviews, I liked him as a person, and I also liked him as an actor. All right. That's it for now. Ciao.